Have you ever looked up at the moon and wondered why it changes shape every night? It's a question that's fascinated humanity for centuries. Here's a little secret. The moon doesn't actually change shape, it's all about its position relative to the Earth and the Sun. This cosmic dance results in the moon's appearance shifting in our sky, a phenomenon we know as the moon phases. Intriguing, isn't it? Let's unravel the mystery of the moon's phases together. To understand the moon's phases, you need to know a bit about the moon's orbit. The moon orbits our planet Earth approximately every 27.3 days, in what is known as a sidereal month. During this orbit, it doesn't just stay in one place in the sky. Instead, it moves a little bit each day, tracing a path through the stars. Now let's talk about the positions of the moon, the Earth, and the Sun. These three celestial bodies are in a constant dance, and it's their positions relative to each other that create the different phases of the moon. Imagine a line drawn from the Earth to the moon and then from the moon to the Sun. As the moon orbits Earth, this angle changes. At new moon, the moon and the sun are on the same side of Earth. At full moon, they're on opposite sides. The changing angle means the amount of the moon's surface that's lit up by the sun changes from our perspective. When the moon is between the Earth and the sun, we see the unlit side of the moon, and it appears dark. This is the new moon phase. As the moon moves around the Earth, we start to see a bit more of the sunlit side each night, a phenomenon known as waxing. When the moon is opposite the sun, its face is fully illuminated, and we see a full moon. Then, as the moon continues to travel around the Earth, less and less of the sunlit side is visible, a process referred to as waning. The moon's phases aren't caused by the shadow of the Earth falling on the moon. Instead, they're all about the angle from which we on Earth see the moon. As the moon orbits Earth, different amounts of its sunlit side are visible. So the moon's phases are all about perspective and light. This cosmic ballet happens overhead every month, and all we have to do is look up to see it in action. There are 8 distinct phases that the moon goes through every month. Let's embark on a lunar journey, exploring each phase in detail. First up, the new moon. This is the start of a new lunar cycle. It's when the moon is positioned between the Earth and the sun, causing the side of the moon that's visible to us to be engulfed in shadows. The new moon is virtually invisible to the naked eye, a ghostly presence in the night sky. Following the new moon is the waxing crescent phase. The word waxing means growing, which is exactly what the moon is doing during this phase. A small silver sliver begins to emerge from the darkness, a sign that the moon is on its journey towards full illumination. The waxing crescent phase is often associated with optimism and growth, a symbol of the new lunar cycle's potential. Next, we have the first quarter phase, also known as the half moon. During this phase, half of the moon's surface is illuminated, creating a clear divide between light and dark. It's a point of equilibrium in the moon's cycle, a symbol of balance and decision-making. The moon continues its journey with the waxing gibbous phase. Now, more than half of the moon is illuminated, but it's not quite a full moon yet. The term gibbous comes from a Latin word meaning humpbacked, which describes the bulging appearance of the moon during this phase. This is a time of refinement and adjustment, a period of anticipation for the moon's full illumination. Then we arrive at the full moon. This is when the moon's face is fully illuminated, shining brightly in the night sky. The full moon is a symbol of completion and fulfillment, a moment of revelation and enlightenment. It's a time when the moon reveals its full glory to the world. After the full moon, the moon begins to wane or shrink. This brings us to the waning gibbous phase. Similar to the waxing gibbous phase, more than half of the moon is still illuminated, but the light is now decreasing. This phase is a time of introspection and gratitude, a period to reflect on the journey so far. Next, we have the last quarter phase, also known as the half moon. This is similar to the first quarter phase, but this time the other half of the moon is illuminated. The last quarter phase is a symbol of release and letting go, a time to prepare for the new lunar cycle. Finally, we reach the waning crescent phase. Now, only a tiny sliver of the moon is illuminated. A final farewell before the new moon. The waning crescent phase is a time of surrender and release, a period to tie up loose ends and prepare for a new beginning. Each phase of the moon holds its own unique beauty and significance. It's a celestial dance of light and shadow, a testament to the ever-changing nature of the universe. As we gaze up at the night sky, let's remember that just like the moon, we too are on a constant journey of growth and transformation. Opening, the moon's phases have inspired countless myths, legends, and folklore. Across the globe and throughout time, the shifting face of the moon has sparked the imagination of our ancestors, leading to a plethora of stories and beliefs. In ancient Greece, Selene, the goddess of the moon, was said to drive her moon chariot across the night sky, changing the moon's appearance as she went. This myth was a poetic way to explain the moon's phases, from the new moon representing the chariot's departure to the full moon as Selene's glorious arrival. Across the Atlantic, Native American tribes held their own lunar beliefs. The Huron people believed that the full moon was a time of abundance and celebration, while the new moon was a time for rest and reflection. This cyclical view of time, tied to the moon's phases, still influences many indigenous cultures today. In China, the legend of Chang'e, the moon goddess, is central to the Mid-Autumn Festival. The story goes that Chang'e drank an elixir of immortality, floated to the moon, and became trapped there. The full moon during the festival is said to be the brightest, symbolizing the moment when Chang'e is closest to the earth. In Islamic tradition, the sighting of the new crescent moon signifies the start of Ramadan, a holy month of fasting and prayer. This practice underscores the importance of the moon in religious observances. Similarly, in many Western cultures, the full moon has often been associated with madness and supernatural occurrences. The term lunacy, derived from Luna, the Roman moon goddess, reflects this belief. Even today, superstitions persist. Some gardeners plant by the moon's phases, believing it affects plant growth. Fishermen, too, often swear by the moon's influence on fish behavior. Closing. While these tales may not be scientifically accurate, they add a touch of magic to our understanding of the moon. We've taken a journey through the moon's phases, from science to folklore. We've unraveled the lunar mystery, delving into the science behind the moon's ever-changing appearance. We've explored how the moon, in its celestial dance with the earth and sun, transforms from a slender crescent to a full moon, and back again in a cycle that has fascinated humanity for millennia. We've discovered the 8 distinct phases of the moon: new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, last quarter, and waning crescent. Each phase, a result of the moon's position relative to the earth and sun, presents a unique face to us here on earth. We've also journeyed into the realm of folklore, where the moon's phases have inspired stories and superstitions, guiding farmers and sailors, poets and dreamers. The moon, in its many guises, has been a muse for cultures around the globe, shaping their calendars, rituals, and beliefs. So the next time you find yourself under the night sky, gaze upward. There, in the quiet darkness, you'll see our moon, a familiar face, yet ever-changing. You'll understand why it appears as it does, and perhaps you'll see a story in its phases, a tale as old as time itself. Next time you look up at the moon, you'll be able to understand its phases and appreciate its beauty even more.